Welcome to Harvard Highlights. Happy Monday. Today we have more about Black History Month interview with one of our new teachers.
We also have some school reminders from Principal Bartels. This and more, so stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Natalie.
And I'm Isabel. To start off our show, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Last week, Ms. Cherry shared the history of Black History Month and a few ways to celebrate.
Here is the rest of that interview.
Why is it important to celebrate Black History Month?
So it's very important to celebrate Black History Month, and I can explain it to you in the way I think, but I thought that I would share with you Professor Yelding. He's at Hope College. Well, he was at Hope College. He recently retired, but he had written something, and I thought what he had to say was perfect and right on the dot. So I'm just going to read it. So I want to make it clear that Black history, like white history, must be a part of the daily story of America that is told in our schools, our news, our media programming, and in every aspect of American life. Black history is American history. The same is true for Latino American, Asian American, and Native American history, and for the history and stories of LGBTQIA+, special needs, women, and other Americans whose stories remain largely untold. As we continue to record that history and tell those stories, we must be sure to honor the authentic voices that have for too long been ignored and denied in traditional telling of American history. We need far more other, quote unquote, voices telling the stories of their own histories. We can do better. We must do better. When we do, we will open the door to a future in which all races, ethnicities, religions, cultures, and subcultures have the gifts they bring to and share in our nation fully and welcomed and valued. So I just thought what he had to say and the way he said it was done so well. And so hopefully you can kind of take that and let that sink in.
Due to recent events that have happened in society, why is it important to celebrate the impact African Americans have made?
So it's important, especially now, because of the events this past summer with George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and all of the Black and brown bodies that have been murdered before them in vain with no justice. Because of COVID, it has further shown that Black citizens are still at risk, that they're still being discriminated against, that there's marginalization and racism throughout our society on populations who are very vulnerable. And so it's important that we learn the stories of African Americans. It's important that we learn the history and honor the contributions that they have made to our country.
What are some recommendations to learn more about Black History Month?
So some recommendations that I have are for you to check out Amanda Gorman's poetry. She performed at the inauguration and then also at the Super Bowl, and she has a lot of different poems out there that I think all of our students here at Harvard Lights would be interested in. And then Hidden Figures, the movie, it's about these three Black women who make their way into NASA and make incredible contributions with getting a space shuttle up into space. And then The Watsons Go to Birmingham. I have read this book a couple of times, and in the book it's a story about this family who they are bringing the oldest son down to Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, to stay with their grandma because he's getting into trouble up here in Flint, Michigan. And on their way down, they're using a green book. And back in the day, African Americans would have this green book when they traveled, and it let them know the places that were safe, restaurants, gas stations, whatever it may be, the places where they would be welcomed and be served and get the resources that they were needing. I have a personal connection to this story because a few Christmases ago, we were traveling south. We were driving, and we stopped at a Pizza Hut in Kentucky. And my husband and I just kind of forgot that as you travel south, it's going to become more blatantly racist. And so we sat there in the Pizza Hut for 20 minutes without being served. And we endured people looking at us and kind of giving us that like stank eye, right? Like, what are you doing here? You should know you don't belong here, kind of a thing. And so we quickly ordered, ate very fast. My husband was very stressed out about it, and we got in the car and continued on our way. But that definitely showed us and reminded us that we needed to be careful about where we stopped as we continued on our journey, and that we would just stop in bigger cities where we knew that it may be more accepting, that we were, stopping at a gas station. It would be more safe for us as well. And so that was just my personal connection with the Watsons Go to Birmingham. I wish we would have had a green book to let us know where those safe places were. At the end of the book, there's a tragic moment, and that is a point in our history where at the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, the KKK bombed the church, and 4 black girls were killed. And so we see how the family responds, and we can infer that it was very traumatic for that family to hear it and to know that it happened while they were in that town. And we see how each kid kind of reacts to that. So,
Thank you, Ms. Cherry, for letting us interview you, and thanks, Tanner, for recording.
Thanks, Ms. Cherry, for taking the time to share about the importance of Black History Month.
It is important to realize that not all stories get told, and at times it may take an intentional effort to recognize and celebrate the contributions of African Americans in our life today and throughout history.
This year, we have a few new people at our school. We finally had the chance to catch up with our new 8th grade science teachers and to find out a little more about his and how his year is going.
I'm here with Mr. Mullen to ask him more about himself. Tell us more about yourself.
So I grew up in Michigan, and then after college, my wife and I moved out to Utah, and I taught there for about 5 years. And then this summer, we moved back to Michigan, and we are now living here in the West Side. And I like to ski, I like to play sports, I hunt, fish, camp, pretty much anything outdoors I really enjoy.
What do you like about science?
I enjoy all the hands-on experiences, the experiments that we get to do in class, and the fact that we can look at anything outside and figure out exactly how it works.
How do you like teaching at Harbor Lights?
Harbor Lights has been an awesome school so far. I don't know if you guys are aware, but you have an awesome student body. There are really awesome adults in this building that care about the kids and their achievement, and it's really been a great experience so far. I will really enjoy it when we get to take these masks off and we're past this COVID thing, but it's been a great year.
What interesting things do you have in your class?
We actually just started a new unit in science that is exploring COVID-19, and we're relating it back to all the other pandemics in history and kind of looking at the different experiences that people have in all of those different pandemics. And we also have our salmon.
How are you raising salmons, and when are you going to release them?
So we're raising salmon with the DNR's Salmon in the Classroom program, and it helps the fisheries get salmon out into individual tanks, and then we grow them up, and then we release them when they're big enough that there's a good chance they'll survive in the wild. And we'll release them at the end of April in Pine Creek over by Mac Bay.
Mr. Mullen, for asking our questions.
I'll see you guys at the slopes.
Thanks, Mr. Mullen, and thanks for helping out with the ski club this year too.
We have a new library assistant and secretary that we will be introducing to you in our future show.
Now over to this week's journal announcements.
Thanks. I'm Lucius.
And I'm Zoe. Here are this week's specials. Monday is spicy chicken sandwiches, Bosco sticks. Tuesday is hamburger chicken nuggets. Wednesday is spicy chicken and Bosco sticks.
Thursday is mini corn dog, and Friday is spicy chicken sandwich with pizza. Every day they also have deli sandwiches and salads.
This is the last week to bring in items for the Community Action House. Thanks to all who have already donated to help support our community.
Just a reminder that you have another opportunity to watch the high school play via streaming. Buy the tickets online.
Like Mr. Huber said last week, pay attention to the daily announcements for more information about tryouts.
It's nice to have positive news with COVID. The vaccine is getting out, and many of our teachers have been able to get the vaccine as well.
Even though numbers are dropping, it is important to keep doing our part to help keep us safe.
Here is Mr. Bartels with some all-school reminders.
I'm Brady, and I'm here to interview Mr. Bartels about some school rules and reminders. To start off with many kids coming back from virtual, could you remind us of some new rules and reminders because of COVID?
So there were a lot, which most of you guys know, but for students coming back from virtual, probably the biggest changes from last year, right, is everybody's wearing masks. We're hand sanitizing all over the place, so teachers are doing that. Teachers are also cleaning their rooms or cleaning off desks in between passing periods. And then in some areas, like on the north side of the building, we have that kind of whirlpool, that one-way traffic rule, which just kind of keeps the flow of students moving more quickly through that side of the building because everybody's facing the same direction and we don't have kids bumping into each other.
So then next, how does contact tracing work?
So contact tracing is a process that we use that we basically have guidance from the Centers for Disease Control, the CDC, which is the federal agency in charge of the name, like the name implies, like controlling diseases. And we basically follow a protocol where if we find out that we had a positive case in school, we have to figure out who was a close contact to that positive case. So that's why, teachers have seating charts and we're kind of keeping track of where people are sitting. We have seating charts at lunch too, or at least we know where everybody's sitting with their teacher's class at lunch. And we have to identify those students that were close contacts, so they're within about a 6-foot window for about 15 minutes of time. And then those students that we've identified are then quarantined for 10 days. And I know it's not something any of us enjoy to do, and every time I have to do it and have to tell students that they're going to be out of school for a while, most of the time they're not particularly happy about it. But it's important because it allows us to potentially slow or stop the spread of COVID-19, because if we had a positive case at school and then the students that were close to that positive are out of school for a while, most of the time they never get sick because of the things that we're doing, because we're masking up and we're washing hands and we're doing things like that. So most of the time we don't really have an issue. But just in case a close contact was exposed and maybe got sick, if they do that at home away from school, then they're not spreading it to even more students. So that's why we do it, and that's how we do it.
We've also heard that some teachers are getting the COVID vaccine, or at least some will be getting it. How will that affect school in the future?
So that's a really good question. So in the short term, it's not really going to change a whole lot. So all the safety procedures that we've got in place, that'll still be the same. So even with with teachers getting the vaccine, which is good, some of our teachers have gotten the first shot. Some of them have already gotten both shots. Some of them are still waiting to get their first shot. Though that we just found out today that there's more shots available in Ottawa County. So hopefully all of our teachers will be able to get a vaccine here soon. But we won't change any of our procedures because so far this year, it's done a pretty good job of keeping everybody safe. Down the road, like next year, we'll have to see what happens. Hopefully if all of our staff are vaccinated and we have a better control of the virus, like not only in Ottawa County, but statewide and nationwide, then maybe we might be able to look at some of the procedures that we put in place. Could we change some of those? But we'll just have to kind of wait and see. And, hopefully things will get better here soon.
Now to finish it off, what are just some regular school rules and reminders that we should all know of?
So those are, kind of the same that they've always been. So as far as, one thing that's different this year is because we don't have lockers. So we didn't, cell phones had to be in lockers last year. Now cell phones need to be still in your backpack, hoods off in class. Those rules are the same, whether you were a virtual student this fall or not. One thing, I'm going to add in one COVID rule explainer just because it just popped into my head. A lot of students ask at lunch, like, why do I have to sit with my second hour class, or why do I have to sit with my fifth hour class? And the reason is because of that earlier answer that I gave you about contact tracing. So if there was a situation where we had a positive case, If we know generally that students are staying with their second hour class, then that would limit the amount of students we had to quarantine. So if everybody was coming down to the gym and just sitting wherever they wanted to, and then we found out we had a positive, that put, if there was a positive student that was moving between 4 or 5 different tables, you can imagine how many more students we would potentially have to quarantine if something like that happened. So I know it's not a general school rule, it's a COVID rule, but I just wanted to throw it in there at the end.
Thanks, Mr. Bartels, and thank you, students, for your efforts this year to do the right thing and help us all stay safe.
Now over to sports.
Thanks. I'm Magali.
And I'm Tannery.
Ski and Snowboard Club has had a great year so far. We have had so many students continue to join.
We like to accommodate students, and Ski Club was one of the activities that was available this year during COVID.
If you would like to be a part of Ski and Snowboard Club next year, please make sure to sign up before the deadline next year. Typically, the sign up for passes is in October and November.
We only have a few trips left. If you'd like to go this Friday, please sign up by 11 a.m. Thursday in Miss Postman's room 136.
For wrestling, they are supposed to have their first meet Tuesday home against Holland Middle School.
For boys, swim, and dive, they have a meet Tuesday against Holland Christian at home and Thursday also at home against Zeeland.
The black team for girls basketball has a game on Monday home against Hamilton and Wednesday against Holland Christian.
The white team is home Monday against Mona Shores and Thursday away against Mona Shores.
Good luck, Panthers, in this week's game. Now back to the anchors.
For the sports report, and thanks for helping us stay safe by wearing your masks and social distancing.
Keep showing the Panther pride. Have a great week. Thanks for watching.
Bye.